mean, one of the things that Muslims used to say, like the earlier Muslims, because, like I wrote on the early history of the Nation of Islam and the brothers and sisters, the brothers specifically in the penitentiary. And one of the things that when they would be confronted by the guards, rifles, etc., this and that, do you teach that the white man is the devil? Allah teaching that the white man is the devil. You know what I mean? So, yes, Allah teaches that. Don't say it come from me specifically. If what Allah said of you.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. So, and I say all that to say, that Allah they was talking about was Master Prophet Muhammad, the brother in the penitentiary.
Right.
But the Father Allah still taught who was the original man and who was the colored man. He never laid off that. Yeah. But like you said in the beginning, it was more of a language. Because at the time, God, when the Harlem Six and the quote-unquote Blood Brothers, every article, anti-white. They made it like a hate organization. Anti-white was repeated 6 or 7 times in one article.
Yeah.
And so the Father wisely and correctly, distanced himself from this is not an anti-white organization.
Right.
Nor is the Nation of Islam,
Right.
It ain't the flesh, we take issue with. It's the devilishment.
Right.
The word devil, doing evil.
The character
being
of
violent,
the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are important things, man, that, sometimes the gods, we sit down and we ponder on these things and, you know what I'm saying? But it's good to get the history. It's good to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, just to put things in its proper context, I think a lot of times. Because, like a lot of the elders, despite their years of study or how supreme their wisdom may have been or whatever, we know that they said things sometimes for certain periods. You know, I heard Minister Farrakhan say once, he said, this is a universe it's all about time. And he said, you could, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, you could be saying the right thing, but in the wrong time, and it's not effective because you're out of season saying what you're saying, and it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we look back in retrospect and look at the elders and the father and, we learn a lot basically just from, what they did, what they taught, in the manner in which they taught it, to who they taught it to. Because, it was said that the father would have conversation sometime for the 13, 14-year-olds. But of course, when he talked to someone 24, 25, it's kind of a little different. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important a lot of times that things is just put in its proper context.
Right. And like I said, I think it was a work in progress.
Right.
And a lot of people who have been, I would say, indoctrinated in the latter years, once the 5% teaching kind of started going different ways. You had different schools of thought. Then you had the whole, anti-Muslim sentiment, right? Yeah. And the original rift, with the whole Muslim thing has always been over the laws, the prescribed laws of Islam. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what the issue's kind of been, okay? And not that, because from what I recall, I don't ever recall the gods who didn't partake in or didn't indulge, in drugs, alcohol, crime, etc. Right? I never can recall them chastising the 5%. You know what I mean? It was always like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you up in here, it's funny because they even write about this in the 5% newspaper, which is true. They would see, was you Muslim? Or was you Muslim, was you sympathetic to the Muslim? Yeah. But what you didn't do.
Right.
So if they try to give you something to go contrary to the law of civilization of Islam, and you didn't do it, okay, yeah, nigga, you a Muslim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that was the stigma of a Muslim.
When did you think that whole everything just started to derail, like with the 5%ers, like after the father departed in 69 and we went all through the 70s. The 70s was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
The guards was on point for the most of the 70s. But When did you see it or think it began to derail? Was it like in the 80s crack era?
No.
Was it
even
before that?
Even on our crack era days, even with us being gangster, if you will, the 5%ers still had the knowledge. You know what I mean? We didn't vilify the knowledge, you know, or the sources of the knowledge.
Right.
We would just, you know,
There'd be
you know, falling short.
Right. Okay.
But the difference is once your narrative becomes anti the knowledge, that's when it goes from grafting the original to being the devil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking the knowledge. And now
going against the authors of the
condemning
right.
righteousness. You know what I'm saying? And that was an issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that always existed, though. I would say. You know what I mean? It was in the 70s. People getting ran out of rallies for being civilized.
Yeah.
About
the mid 70s.
Yeah. But see, it depends on who it was, God.
Yeah.
See, it's the same. Like I said, God, we all come from the same cipher, so it's whoever had influence. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes in the world, those that have influence in the street are involved in street activity. You know what I mean? So they may have a little bit more what appears to be power or leverage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of always had that, although I would say whoever was on some gangster tip still was kind of respectful then. Okay, look, I'm out here wilding, but you in school, all praise is due to Allah. It wasn't like, yo, let's kill this nigga because he in college. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo,
right.
Yo, God, don't touch none of this.
You doing your
thing. We over here doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had,
that's true.
You had a lot of that.
Yeah.
But because the knowledge was still there.
Right.
But I would say it was in the mid 90s on up to when really it was in the 90s, early 90s, but I think the narrative kind of took place kind of around 94, 95.
That's with the whole advent of the Nation of Gods and Herbs and
right.
93, 94.
Exactly. We not 5%ers, etc., yada bang.
Right.
These are Muslim lessons. Some people didn't want to study lessons.
Some of them didn't even want to call themselves 5%ers.
Right. They didn't want like the Arabic component.
Yeah.
Anything dealing with that was reminiscent of Islam in 120 degrees, was becoming problematic to some people.
Yeah.
Because when you develop in a narrative, and that's the reason why we kind of created this narrative and got away from the 5%, because that was well intended, I believe. Because I know the brothers involved in that.
Yeah.
And I think I can tell it now that, well, then again, because a lot of these brothers have passed away, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember, guys. So I can't speak on it because he's not here anymore. But I'll tell you after the bill. But a lot of brothers well intended, you know what I mean, and what they wanted to do,
right?
And they wanted to. Because I always tell brothers in the Nation of Gods and Earths, I say, look, let me tell y'all straight up. Even though I disagree with y'all whole anti-Muslim thing y'all got, but I'll tell you what, I will give y'all this. We as 5%ers was definitely more diabolical, in our way, as opposed to Nation of Gods and Earths concept. You know what I mean? Because we were, we were
diabolical as far as.
I mean, God, we were infamous. You know what I mean? I mean, God, when I did that book, and I'm walking around Uptown, Medina, whatever, and people discovering, I'm talking about just regular lost founds, God, cussing me out. You know what I mean? Like, not because of me.
Right.
It's because, wait a minute, you wrote this?
Wow.
You from that? So a lot of things happened under that, a lot of bad things. And we done that as 5%ers. We done that as 5% Nation of Islam. We done that as calling ourselves Nation of Islam. So, and I say all that to say to give brothers credit, that brothers wanted to disassociate themselves from that reputation. So they wanted to get rid of the term and name 5%. As a result. But this what happened though. The problem became this, and this is where the devil come in. And I just believe the FBI COINTELPRO was involved in this. So they took that And that's when they added the undercurrent, the whole anti-Nation of Islam. That's when it's like written, okay, the father said, after I die.
They make me sick. And just
the father said, after I die, you will no longer be the 5%ers.
Right.
You will be the nation of gods and earth. Right. Not the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Now, that was written by brothers. You know what I'm saying? He didn't teach that.
Right.
But somebody put that in there. And as they say in that paper, the word. They said one word can change the course of a nation. And that word, we not the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Then the whole anti-Muslim teaching that came with that.
Pretty much began.
Right. But Islam comes after everything else fails, God.
That's a fact.
So the same God that was anti-5%, now you won't even find somebody that won't say they're a 5%er now, right?
Trying to come back to it.
Right. And if you're going to live by the prescribed laws of Islam.
That's a fact.
You got to live by it. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to keep us here. And to go back to the teachers, whether we was young or whatever, they say a lot of fathers said, you know somebody's doing something wrong when they die from it. Right? Brother, we've been devastated as 5%ers. You know, and I'm speaking as a 5%er. You know, some may question that. But how can you be a 5% if you acknowledge the most honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad and all this stuff you talking, and the Muslim, and you talking to Yaqub and all this, the mother plane and this and that, and tribe of Shabazz. You ain't with us. You know, Mecca, Medina. You know, God, we run the whole gamut, the whole spill. We all 120, not 119, not 115, not 82 degrees, not 61 degrees. We 120 degrees. Right? Yeah. So when we went wayward against that teaching of civilization, because remember, God, the lessons is called the Book of Life.
Right.
You know, and it was a lesson that said life and death have no partnership. Right? So when we go against that book of life, the book of the law, we see what happens. So many of us died. You know what I mean? Many of us died from alcohol abuse and drug abuse. Some great brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? Yeah. Got snared in, you know, in the vice of the devil. And those of us that made it, you know, myself included, as long as we hear by the grace and the mercy of Allah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And really, really submitting.
Yeah.
To do the will of Allah. Because we all got our own will, right? We all given free will, as they say. So the 5%ers, the 10%ers, and the 85%ers, right? So in the narrative that the devil put out, that we ain't Muslim, Muslim meaning righteous, one of peace. The devil said, well, we ain't righteous, we ain't one of peace. And here, y'all so-called niggas teach this. Because the last thing we want y'all to be is righteous or one of peace. We don't want that. Especially what Allah gave, you know what I mean, in the Nation of Islam and what they did. They building everything in the community, right? So, but I tell brothers that they use that argument. I said, well, brother, because a lot of brothers don't understand the terms that we use. Because they don't know where these terms come from. They thinking, okay, they invented them. But like when we say other than self, how can one become other than themselves? You know, brother, how can one become other than self? If your own self is a righteous Muslim, how do you become other than yourself? You become other than yourself by doing contrary to the will of Allah. Right? Allah is supreme being, the black man of Asia that possessed the knowledge of himself, that is of the Nation of Islam, that is all wise and does everything right and exact. As the 5%ers are all wise. Right? Now, when you go contrary to the will of Allah, and now you submitting to the will of the devil, or the 10%ers, which is destroy your own community. That's how you become other than yourself. But to be yourself, a righteous Muslim, you got to submit to the will of Allah. Not no spook Allah, but Allah that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad represented to us, as it says in the prescribed laws of Islam, right? Or, you know, the restricted laws of Islam, aka that. So yeah, God, so in this day and time, I never ever, and I always go on record of this. Anybody can prove me wrong. I'm glad I get on radio, TV, whatever with you. You can prove this wrong. I never met a righteous God that denied this.
Me neither.
that deny the lessons or the Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad or Allah and the person, the Master Prophet Muhammad, or any aspect of the principles that we've given. I've never met one righteous God who denies this and don't live it. Not one.
That's a fact. Yeah.
In fact, you can't be righteous without it.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's
you know,
a fact. Yeah.
that's how we got it.
Yeah. If you don't have it, you can't really even consider yourself to be 5%.
That's how we got it, God.
Yeah.
And but yeah, everything goes full circle, God. And I think in this day and time, the only way we're gonna survive is to live a respectful life.
Gotta get
to live a righteous life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
And
older
that's
God
for
told me
everybody.
that. He said that only our righteousness will get us through in these final.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we about to shut it down, God. Real quick before we go, like, I know it's like your book, In the Name of Allah, it's been what,
Right.
like how many years? We just passed the 12th year, 13th year?
Yeah. Originally it came out the first one came out in 2007. Then the one came out in 2009.
Right,
2009.
okay, yeah, so wow.
Yeah, it's been It's been a while, brother.
Yeah. I mean, anything, you want to drop on us real quick about any other, future, books or anything, you got working on or whatever?
Yeah, we constantly working on things. Everything that I deal with, mostly as far as this side, is dealing with the history, documenting the history of the Nation of Islam. And there's so many different components to that. And I've been kind of focusing on the history of the FOI and the history of Temple Number 25. Got something on that coming out. And look for brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad. He's doing dealing with the history of the assassination of Minister Malcolm X. El Haj Malik Shabazz. So yeah, God. And and coming back and doing a podcast and interviewing people again, I feel that I need to do that because I still speak. The reason why I got inspired to do the podcast in the first place, before when I was doing them, is because I was talking to so many people, and I was like, you know what? I wish everybody could hear this. Why do I just need to hear this? Everybody need to hear this. You know what I mean? And shout out, I would say a big shout out to the God, I Am All, AKA Rashim Allah, who recently passed away. Because he did a fantastic job in documenting history of our people as well, and specifically the 5% nation of gods and earths. And I just wanted to mention him because me and him used to have good builds, and he passed away, like a year and some change now, and real good brother. So I want to make sure his name stays alive out there, as well as all of the elders, God, that we rock with.
Big Brother Franklin, the
great
God.
Allah.
Yeah, to all of the gods, man, that, paved the way for us.
Right, God.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, God, it was good building with you, man. Definitely. Like I said, we gotta definitely get together again, do some more, sit downs, get the Muslim gods together.
Yeah. And I gotta say this, God, because God, you've been making a great impact, God.
Yes, sir.
I mean, God, the narrative that we had to go up against, and then and we all do our part. But God, I would say, God, the work that you've been doing is impacting a lot of people, God. Word is bond. The bills you put out, God, I get a lot of calls from different people with questions. I'm like, y'all need to contact the God directly. You know what I mean? So, God, a lot of things we saying, God, and this is different. You know what I mean? It's different to see on many levels 5%ers respect our elders. You know what I'm saying, God? And respect the lineage.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's our way as black people. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I thought of Rashim, I Am All, because we would talk about that a lot. You know what I mean? Like I said, the elder Alamel Allah, a.k.a. Brother Franklin Muhammad, a great, powerful statesman who we just lost. I mean, always reaching out to the community, reaching out to the brothers and sisters that had different understanding and bringing us all together. And, the God is greatly missed. And at the same time, we have to do it there. And the other thing, God, of course, I can't leave without saying this. I mean, God, the respect for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that the people have. I mean, God, I deal with the lost found a lot. Let me shout out also Brother Ben and Brother Reza Islam. You know what I mean? And of course, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, Brother Nuri, Minister Ishmael. I mean, so many people, brother, that's out here getting this word out. That's really impacting the masses of our people, God. And I hear it all of the time. And we got to make room in our assemblies for our people right now. So we really need to organize with the brothers and sisters that are here. And I know I said some things on here because we're just dealing with the history, but I have nothing against the brothers that have contrary opinions, or contrary accounts. It's love and respect. And I'm more than glad to meet with them brothers and sisters, as we all are, but God, the work you're doing, God,
I'm
fantastic.
I'm still waiting for the brothers to get back in contact with me. The brothers, Minister Freedom and the brother. I guess they
from
said,
right.
They didn't want no more of that. I've been waiting because I told them, I said, yo, I got me, the God Wakeel, I could get, you know what I mean? I got a strong team, what I mean? But they did not hit me back. I hit the brother one day too, like, yo, what's good? Like, yo.
But you know what it is, God?
I'm going to get with you, God. I ain't forget. I'm going to get with you.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that they had y'all on there, though. That was peace, though. That was real peace, God, because, we never really been religious and stuff like that. Like I said, we can sit down with anybody and everybody. But I do got to give brothers credit for having you on there. Because typically, they probably faced a lot of heat for that. I don't even know if they can even do that again, God, because you get a lot of heat for that.
Right, and that's the thing. It's not really so much that I'm saying, I'm not trying to say, they scared. They scared to come deal with our scholarship. No, they scared of the brick basket that they probably going to get from the...
Yeah, God, it's real out there. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
It is a lot of...
it is
a lot of...
When the brothers want to get together again, man, I already said I got my little squad sitting here waiting. Hey, we can have this lovely, friendly, peaceful debate. Whatever y'all want to do, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up.
That would be peace, So, meeting of the minds.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
meeting of the minds.
So big up to all of the righteous people. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Stay righteous.
Peace.
All of the Muslim gods, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's good building with you, God.
Indeed, God. The pleasure is mine, God.
Yeah, no
it's
doubt.
It's an honor to be here with my brother, God.
No doubt.
Always. And much love and respect to all of the people that's going to do the knowledge to the broadcast. Love and respect.
True indeed.
Peace and blessings to all.
Oh, and I know you said you got the...
God. I bought you a shirt, God.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
you know what I mean, God.
Yeah, I saw you pull it out or whatever.
Yes, God. The shirt, God.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean, God? I don't know if they can see that or not, God.
Yeah, that's peace in the name of Allah.
Yeah, and I did it, me and a few people got together on it.
Okay,
we put together the shirt.
Yeah, I like that, God.
It's the one of many coming out. And it's just reminiscent of the book, like the book cover. This particular one is volume 2.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
We got volume 1.
I hope they don't flip on me for that part right there.
The Clarence 13. Let me. Oh, the other thing is a lot of lost founds.
Oh God, the name was Allah. God, the name was Allah.
You would see a lot of lost founds on that. That's wearing this shirt too, because it's not a shirt. Like I know sometimes, like I said, there's different schools of thought within the 5%. And some of us, like I said, we came from the gangs and whatnot. Right. Many of us, like I said, myself included.
Yeah.
But we really shouldn't have that mindset. Right, we should be a bit, and that's why I promote the father in that regard. You know what I mean? Because he was kind of universal in getting with the people.
Right.
So, and his family told me that. The elders told me that. So we got to kind of be the same way. You know what I mean? And that's not because of his way. That's just the way of the righteous.
Of the righteous, right.
You know what I mean? And he was righteous.
True indeed.
So the whole Clarence 13X thing, that was never an issue too,
right,
until the different schools of thought came out. And the reason why brothers don't like that name, because it goes into his history
of the Muslim,
right,
of the temple,
and his history, and some don't acknowledge his history in a favorable light.
Yeah.
As it relates to what he did,
yeah,
or his name. But the way he gave it, and I like to keep the teaching because this is a good teaching to me. he said that we'll have both of our names, which is different. This is different from the Muslims. This is a different teaching. So it's funny because a lot of brothers adopt the Muslim teaching and go against the father teaching on this. Fine. If you go to Muslims, you can't lose with that either.
Right.
But in this case, it doesn't really apply, only the first name. But anyhow, the father said that, your name, your birth name or given name is your honorable name.
Honorable name.
So he advised brothers, if you got your honorable name on your paperwork, just state that as your honorable name.
Right.
So when brothers would sign, for the flags or whatever, they'll state their honorable name, which like in this case, like his name's Clarence Smith. Then, your righteous name. In this case, his name being Allah as an example. But in the Nation of Islam, when you have the X, it nullifies the slave name.
Right.
So it's proper within the culture of civilization of the Nation of Islam that you can have, your name, like mine was Wayne X, right, in the nation. And people be like, oh, when they hear that, they, they'll start calling me that because I said that on here. But see, God, it don't bother me. Because it's in good company, you know what I mean?
Some people still call me Brother Robert.
Yeah, it's in good company.
Brother Robert X. I don't trip. I mean, and that's another thing. It's like when you a baby in these teachings, I remember I used to be like, yo, call me the son. Yo, my name the son. Yo, call me. You know what I'm saying? And dudes be acting all ignorant. Right. But when you get older and more advanced in these teachings, you can call me Brother Robert X. You can call me Day Son of Law. You can call me Brother Fahim. Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't trip off any of that. You know what I'm saying? Indeed. At the end of the day, we're here to exchange information. Right. It's two atoms in the universe exchanging, information.
And in the book title, it's in the name of Allah. See, it's like it's what would you call it? What do they call that?
What do you mean?
Is that the name for? Because see, it's in the name of Allah, like the Father, Allah.
Oh,
but in case somebody don't know what I'm saying,
right?
Clown 13 next to it to be specific who I'm talking about, because the name Allah is so universal. So I mean, if you search the name Allah, the last thing that's going to show up is the Father, right? You know what I mean? Out of
and that word, what in Islam they call it Tasmiyat. In the Tasmiyat, in the name of Allah, Bismi Allah. It's like you're basically saying, I'm one with nature. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm one with the universe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how we come in the name of Allah. And that's how we come as, as you say, Muslim gods.
Yeah, that's
we come in the name of Allah. Unabashedly, unashamed. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the 5% is Allah the Father taught he was the messenger of Allah.
Right.
And it is what it is. So if you bear witness, that's Shahada.
Yeah.
Bear witness is no God but Allah. The black man Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah.
Yeah, the black man is God and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger. Right. That's how it's Shahada.
He's definitely God too.
Exactly.
Supreme black God.
True
yeah,
indeed.
So that's the teaching, God. Yeah, but I think, I don't think we got a hard of a job now because when I listen to people, they sounded like you out there, God. Hey, you sounded like the lessons. You know what I'm saying?
I was talking to before we closed. I was talking to Black God Raw one time, and he said something, and I was like, "You sounded a little Muslim goddish over there." You know what I'm saying? Like, like if them NGE gods hear you talking like that, they might, you know what I mean? The God was like, "I don't care. What's right is what's right. If they want to call me Muslim God, whatever. But I'm saying what's right." And I was like, "True indeed, God. Yeah, true indeed.
Every knee will bow and every tongue will confess." You know what I mean? The devil will be made thine footstool.
That's it.
And here we are. The God's in the name of Allah.
Right. Yeah.
Praise be to Allah.
So, man, y'all stay tuned. Like I said, I'm going to try to come back again with some more bills with the gods. Hopefully I get my Facebook thing running right again. If not, we're going to have to try another app or something like that in the future to, get the gods together and do some bills. But yeah, we definitely gonna be coming back, with the gods, getting back on it. So, y'all stay tuned.
Thank you, great God.
So with that being said, we leave everybody as we came in the greeting words of peace.
Indeed.
Said in Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum.
Indeed. Wa alaikum salam.
Peace to the gods. Peace to the earths. Peace. Pipe in between you in the bed up in your kingdom, Lord. The God don't live out a crib. Your A like is one who live how you live. I see my God brothers sparking every time like come. That's why I call my brother son, cause he shine like one. I see gods on the corner building using that cheese slang.
Every time they speak, they using that G slang. The guard standing on the square, sparking up his cipher. I put in time behind these bars like a life. You say the guard is in the tombs when he's physically locked up. A newborn is a student who mentally popped